Uh, Today is Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. The time is 7:00 p.m. I'd like to call the Finance Personnel Committee meeting to order. Myself, Mike Capper is present.
Chris Dubak.
Donnie
And
Kern.
Donnie Kern is joining us via Zoom. Any public comment on agenda items? Tony, anything you want to say on the agenda items? Okay. If we can review the minutes from March 11th and March 13th. Andrew, do you know if Christina's going to be joining us?
She is not. She's on vacation.
Perfect. Did we have anything for the library report other than just the single sheet that she has in the back end?
That's all we have.
Okay.
I'll make motion to approve the minutes of March 11th, March 13th, and the regular Finance Personnel Committee minutes for March 13th. As presented.
Second.
First and second, for the discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 The library report. We just have that, from Christina. It's the 50th anniversary. In November of 1973, the Village of Somerset Board of Trustees voted to establish a public library. The library began in operation in early 1974 at the rear of the Village Hall with 500 books and 10 hours of weekly operation.
Years, that's fantastic.
Yes. Let's move up the building inspector fee schedule since Tony is here. Let's move 9B up to the front. If anybody work with everybody.
Can we make a motion to that effect? I'll make a motion to move.
We don't have to make a motion for it. All right, Donnie, do you want to start with that? Discussion, possible approval, possible recommendation, building inspector fee schedule.
Well, I think if you take a look at the in your packet, there was a document that was provided by a gentleman. He went through three different cost scenarios with the different, one of them is from Western Wisconsin Inspection Agency. The other one is Alcroy Inspection, and the other one is Tony's, our current building inspector's fee schedule. And I think if we take a look at that, and just give me 1 second, I'm trying to pull it up. You can see the differences on those fee schedules, and the one that we just approved in the ordinance was reflected in the with Tony's current fee schedule. However, there's significant cost savings to majority of those in that list. I'll just go down through a couple of them if you want.
Sure.
So I don't know if we can get it pulled up on the oh yeah, there it is. Very, very good.
Andrea, can you let me into the meeting? Thank you.
What happened? You there?
Yep, we can still hear you.
Okay, so if you're looking at, for example, on just at the top of what we have on the screen there, is that 111 1,105 finished square feet, 552 garage, and a deck total square foot valuation of $216,000 home, 216,955. The cost would be for Western Wisconsin Inspection Agency, 1,069 for that permit. Tony's the current our current what we currently approved for a ordinance of 1,300 for that permit, and Alcroy would be 1,164. If we went down, you can see on the next couple down there, it's finished square foot 13.5 basement, 1,313 finished, 794 square foot garage, porch, 3,452,000 valuation, $292,760 for a home. Western Wisconsin, their cost would be, and this is they renewed their rates. These are renewed rates that I've been told. So they had old rates, but they just re-up them, and it's 1,454. Our current building inspector, our current ordinance is 1,604, and Alcroy is 1,374.24 for that same thing. So I guess if you continue to go down through it, there is, if you know, you can go down to just alterations with bathrooms or no bathrooms. And this is where, you know, we get a little closer with our current evaluations, like a $50,000 alteration with the bathroom. Our current ordinance is $442. Alcroy's would be $400. Western Wisconsin's would be $450. So reviewing all of this, I think it's important for us to look at our ordinance, and what we approved was a significant increase, and I think we can review some of that and possibly look at what other inspection agencies are charging, and we should probably look at our ordinance and maybe take this take the numbers out of our ordinance and put it into a fee schedule pursuant to whatever inspection agency that we go with. But I don't know why we have to have our ordinance you know, outlined with all of these. And maybe I don't know, maybe Andrea, could you shed a little light on why that would, is it possible that we could just put this as a fee schedule?
A part of the ordinance is the fee schedule, so it's part of the building code section, but the ordinance that was redone not that long ago is the actual fee schedule.
But why is that? I think Andrew, why is it part of the ordinance?
That's just how it's always been.
But it could be, but it could be set aside where we could say, you know, I mean, you know, here is a fee schedule, and you know, our building codes are building codes. Do we have to have it that way, I guess, is what I'm saying, because I think you know, well, I'm just looking at on all of these different costs. I haven't found one that we significantly increased our building inspection fees in our ordinance. And I think there's other inspection agencies out there that could do it for less, or is Tony willing to take a look at those numbers and possibly refigure his rates?
So Donnie, are you saying that $230 is a significant amount on a $300,000 house?
I think what the point is, Tony, it's 230 on one, 229 on the next. 460 on the other one. There's,
We haven't, I've been here 5 years, we haven't done a $550,000 house yet.
all these prices are significantly higher is what are you saying? And I tend to agree.
So $230 is a lot. And this is what we offer. We're open 7:30 to 3:30, Monday through Fridays. I answer my phone till 8 o'clock at night. We pick up and drop off permits here, so nobody in the village has to travel to Hudson or New Richmond to drop off their permits.
That's terrific.
And you're saying these other companies wouldn't offer that, they'd have to,
I'm just saying what we do.
I guess, I don't like the way I feel it was just kind of shoved down our throats, so I think it's worth looking at, and it coming up here real soon for,
I gave it to you in December though, and you guys approved it in January. I don't think I shoved it down your throat,
no, I'm not saying you did, I think the village board didn't take a good look at it when it was presented.
but you had it for a whole month.
Well, I guess my point on it is if there's other companies that are out there that are able and capable of providing a service, that is much more reasonable to the constituents, we need to be able to look at that, and we should be looking at that, and that's, I think, what the whole purpose of this meeting is. And if you ask me if $200 is a lot of money or is a big difference to some people on a $300,000 house, I think at the end of the day, I would say that it would be worthy of us to look at that and say, yeah, it very well could be.
But again, we show up for every inspection. We don't accept affidavits. And have you talked to any of the contractors in the village or any of the homeowners?
I've talked to the contractors that have worked with, and I've talked with the other municipalities that have worked with these other agencies, and they deal with both of them. There's not a bad word that's being said about you, Tony. There's not a bad word that's being said about Alcroy or Western Wisconsin. So I'm not here to portray that there is that there's an issue with the work that's being done. I'm here to look at it on behalf of, if there's a better way that we can get a more reasonable cost for getting these inspections done. I'm willing to take a look at that and advocate for, and on behalf of the residents that want to get additions built or other things done. And that's why this was, this was done. It wasn't done by my request. It was done, by somebody saying, well, let's take a look at the ordinances, and here it is.
What's your recommendation, Donnie?
I'm only one person on this board.
I mean, I don't think there's been one complaint. We issued 4 new homes in the month of March, 1 deck, 3 signs, 1 fence. And that's all under the new fee schedule. And I don't believe there's been one complaint on it.
That's not true. They might not have complained to you, sir, but they have definitely complained, and I've heard about it. That's why this is on this agenda.
You have a motion then, Donnie?
Well, for me to look at this, if you, the rest of this committee is looking at it, is this committee, for me, I'm looking at it as there is a much if Tony, if you're willing to look at, your price and fee schedule, we'd be willing to talk to you about that. And that was what was kind of discussed with the other board, what was kicked back to finance. I appreciate you being here for this, but, I'll ask you this question, is that something you're willing to look at, on your fee schedule, or are you pretty dug in with your rates?
I don't think I'm significantly higher. Compared to what we offer, Donnie?
I think his question is, are you willing to look at changing your rates to be more comparable to these other things, or are you stuck with your rates where they're at?
I'm sticking with my rates.
You're sticking with your rates?
I don't,
But Tony, if they're not significantly higher, then even if you did, well, you don't even do the average, if you went to the second highest one on each one, we have to look at this as like a business, not like as
yeah, but
doing favors for somebody.
the village isn't paying.
We're here to represent the people that are either live in the community or the ones coming into the community. And we have to treat it as a business, not since it's not coming out of our checkbook directly, that doesn't matter. You know, so we have to treat this as a business as such.
It's our duty to take a look at the numbers for our constituents. Sure, and
So with that being said, are you willing to negotiate it all on pricing, or you're?
Again, I don't think my rate seems that terrible compared to what we offer here.
Well, you're significantly higher on everything except 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're way higher on everything except 5 of the small ones.
So you're talking like $27, $42.
231 on one.
What, yeah, 231.
Right,
Again, that's a new house. And we go through every trust plan that's there. We don't look at one and say, yeah, they look.
but you're not saying that the other people don't do that.
Well, contractors tell me.
But,
I don't think the issue is the quality of your work.
yeah, question, Donnie, you wanna make a motion, or what's you thinking?
I'm just reviewing this stuff, and I'm kind of waiting for, more discussion on the matter.
Yeah, Tony has stated that his rates are his rates, and he doesn't wanna change them.
So on an addition of 800 square foot and a valuation of $192,000, you're $400, just $350 higher than the next than Western Wisconsin.
Yep.
So if
But
I was
on-
gonna put it, so if I was gonna put an addition on, if I was gonna put an addition, again, if I was gonna put an addition on, I'd be looking at a $350 additional cost. That's gonna inhibit additional growth in our community. People are gonna look at that.
What do you think? This is where he's giving you the option to try to come down to be more comparable to them, or we'll probably make a recommendation to go
So
with
if
one
we
of
look
these
at the
other guys.
top 4, Western Wisconsin's low, on the first one, then it's all Croy, and the next two, then it's with Western Wisconsin, so who do you go?
Well, if you look at the numbers that you provided, Western Wisconsin was minus 231. The lower of the two, minus 467, minus 42, everyone's minus quite a bit under yours. It is, and these are the numbers that you provided. I didn't do that, I didn't even do the math, but their numbers are lower than yours.
Yep, that's why I put it there, so we could all see the numbers.
Right, so they're,
So then we go to
He's
the
giving-
$110,000 alteration, and I'm $128 lower than Western Wisconsin, $168 lower than All Croy.
on those, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. A few things that you're lower on, but not many, and it's not by much.
So
But on new buildings,
128 and 168, and we're talking about 230.
so Tony, how many building permits did you issue last year?
I don't know off the top of my head, Donnie.
So you know, in making an assumption on this, now, if there was maybe, you know, out of those building permits, do you have kind of an idea of what the breakout is as far as additions and remods and new builds?
Yes, we send that to the village, the annual report, but I did not bring that with me.
Okay.
I mean, again, I'm looking at, so you're saying I'm way high on the 230, but then you go down the 110,000 alteration and 168, 128. I'm lower than that. It all works itself out.
Hey, Mike, we aren't paying you for this meeting here tonight, are we? You're here on your own?
You requested me to be here.
Okay, I just want to make sure that, because what, wasn't your rate? Is that 200?
250.
Who requested you to be at this meeting?
You guys did?
In writing, or I don't remember requesting you to be here. Did you get an email from us requesting to be here?
I did not know.
Yes, were you requested by somebody to be here?
I was told I had to be here.
By who?
The girls in the office.
Was it a particular girl?
Not gonna mention any names.
Well, if you're gonna try to put in to get paid, you have to be, the ordinance that we just passed, and you have to be requested in writing.
Okay.
Were you requested to be here by anybody? Yes or no?
I was told to be here.
Good. By somebody in the village? An employee of the village?
Yes,
And who is that employee that told you to be here?
I'm not gonna say it.
Okay.
There's other factors to consider. Is it possible for us to speak to these other two inspection agencies? Have them here? Of the three, these two are pretty comparable. So then we have to look at other factors like
Right, the other
office
two are,
hours.
the other two.
reviews.
two are pretty comparable.
Mhm. So it's hard to
Well,
make a
there
decision.
was- But the board had an issue with one of them. And,
Sorry,
and
can you say that again?
I said the board had an issue with one of them in the past.
Okay.
And that was what. And that's where it was originally brought up and, you know, we stayed with Tony's firm and now we get this big cost. I was perfectly fine with it the way it was, but when you start putting more money on it and you know, we reserve the right to shop around and even though it might have been here getting this opportunity of having somebody take the time and look at this and do a cost comparison. I fully think that, Western Wisconsin, after I've even checked with them in other areas, I think, I would be willing to, recommend that, Western Wisconsin, be looked at as a viable option, an alternative, on behalf of the pricing and services that they provide to the other areas that they are handling right now. Osceola is one. I've talked with the construction companies that have dealt with them up in Osceola. I've talked with the current Osceola. I'm trying to think of his name. He lives here in town. He's kind of the
Isn't it the village administrator that lives in Whispering Pines?
he's administrator for the village, and he said that they've had no issues with them whatsoever. So I'm leaning, if we can't do something with the cost here and trying to get something straightened out, I'm leaning more towards Western Wisconsin Inspection Agency.
Are you making a motion, Donnie, so we can move on? We're kind of beating a dead horse at this point.
The agenda item is a building inspector fee schedule. It's not reappointing a new building inspector.
Nope, that's why I'm talking as far as the fee schedule is
Yeah.
concerned.
Okay. I want to make sure that's clear.
Well, I'm going based on that fee schedule, because I got 3 different fee schedules we're looking at, from 3 different firms. So that's the fee schedule that I'd be looking at. It's much more, user friendly and I shouldn't say user friendly, but much more cost effective for the residents and the new homes in the area. And commercial too.
And then Donnie, I believe it's our next village board meeting is where everything changes and we appoint different people to different committees and make the village president makes appointments for even the things like for the building inspector position. So I guess as of right now, we don't need to do anything. We can wait till the full village board meeting and put it on the agenda correctly if you'd like.
Well, as a recommendation coming from us, though, I think we need to really seriously look at the cost associated from Western Wisconsin. What the president appoints for an inspection agency needs to be taken into consideration for that as well. So, I mean, my recommendation is that we look at that Western Wisconsin inspection agency cost and in amending our recommending to amend our I'd like to change it to a fee schedule that if it's changed, we don't have to change the ordinance. Can we do something like that, Andrea?
That would be a Paul question, I believe. I'm not aware if that's allowed or not.
Question worth asking.
Yeah, well, let's find that out before the village board meeting. And then, was that your motion, Donnie?
So my motion would be that we look at the Western Wisconsin Inspection Agency rates, but I would like to get with Paul and confirm that if we can change the fee schedule to not be reflected in the actual ordinance, but as a separate item, that be accomplished as well.
Go first, or second?
Are there two different subjects there? So
Yeah, basically, he's making a recommendation to look at Western Wisconsin Inspection Agency, and then, but we have to check with Paul to see.
right. Okay, I will second that motion.
First and second, further discussion. All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Tony. We did the library report, impact fee report. Andrew, it looks like, what, five new, permits taken out?
Yep.
Department, head meeting report. Were you guys able to meet Andrea?
We did not have a meeting this month.
Anything to report at all? Anything you want us
We
to
didn't
know?
have a meeting, so there's
Well,
nothing to
Kind
report.
of know what's going on. Is there anything you wanna, that we should know about or anything, or anything we need help with?
Nope.
2024 budget to date and fund balances. How's everything looking there, Andrea?
So far, so good.
So Andrea, if I may, what is this parkland? In the Fund 100?
Say that one more time, Chris, I'm sorry.
Sure, what is the parkland? And
What
Fund
page
100,
are you on?
it would be the third page. Right for the top?
That would be if there was, parkland dedication fees.
Okay.
So we have a new development coming in, they paid a fee.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
The question?
Where did the $5,000 donation come from, Andrew?
Which $5,000 donation?
Page 3. 100-485-00 donations.
I would have to look at the software. I can see if I can connect while we're meeting.
If you're able to find it out, great, let us know. Donnie, do you have any questions on the budget?
Not really, no.
Uh, Discussion, possible recommendation, table skirts, village seal and flags on the wall. I still have not done any homework there on the table skirts. Andrew, do you have anything to update us on the village seal or flags?
I did not have a chance to reach out to Whiplash on that.
All right, let's both you and I try to have something for our next meeting then, okay?
Yep.
And help remind me, please.
Sure.
Thanks. Discussion possible recommendation, food truck lot. Do we have anything in our packet? I didn't see anything, Andrea. Oh, yep, right here, the color sheet. At the end of, like I said, I think it was the end of sometime a few months ago, Bob Gunther put this together when we decided to rent out the spot to Wheelhouse Coffee. So he came up with more spots that we could rent out. So shows where Wheelhouse Coffee is. It looks like they have the fork and knife or spoons or whatever there. And then he came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 other places that we could rent out until that property gets sold or whatever happens to that village property. Kind of make like a, I don't know if you can call it a food truck lot, but somebody could do,
All types of vendor booths, right?
yeah, vendor booth or sales from there.
Right. Are we going to be advertising this?
Would have to get through it'd have to go through the full village board and then we can put something out to. And it'd be a cheap rate of like 150, 200 a month or whatever for each little lot for the month.
Can I ask a question on that?
Absolutely.
Who is supposed to be making sure we're collecting that rent? Am I supposed to be invoicing every month to the people that would be on that lot? Or are they supposed to just pay that rent on their own? What do we do if that rent isn't paid?
Well, if there's a lease against them, right, and there is an amount owed pursuant to a lease agreement with the village, then if they're not paying it, they could be subject to be taken to small claims.
Andrea, who's for Wheelhouse Coffee right now? Who's
Mhm.
collecting the rent from them?
Well, that would be my question, Mike. So,
Well, it's either you or Tasia.
so I was never directed to make sure that they were paying, and that's what I'm asking. Am I supposed to be sending an invoice every month for that rent? Or are the tenants just supposed to pay it on their own? There was no actual process presented.
I guess that's a good thing to look at, but I would say just like.
Well, the village would be invoicing to the tenants pursuant to the lease agreement.
Right, but if we did like almost like a security deposit, so we're a month ahead instead of a month behind. And that way, if they don't pay that month, then part of their leases, they can't be there anymore. That way the village isn't out any money.
Right, Mike, but you'd have to have that in the agreement that they'd have to have some kind of a, upfront amount, and that wasn't part of the deal with Wheelhouse. Wheelhouse
Right.
was, 100, whatever it was a month, and yes, the village should be, leasing or, invoicing for that.
And I don't even know, Andrew, do we have to invoice or can we do like automatic withdrawal like most people do, so you don't have to send out snail mail anymore? Less work for you, and we just have it in an agreement that it comes out automatically unless they stop it at some point. Do you have that option?
I will have to look at that. I know we can do that for utilities. I'm not sure how that works, how that would work with accounting, so.
Would it be the same software from utilities where you're
Mhm.
collecting the money, or is it a different management system?
Well, it's the same, it's a different application in the same software system. So,
So it probably would work just to do it the same way if utilities does it.
probably, but I'm not, I don't want to give you an answer until I can reach out to Workhorse on that.
So I think that's something we should look at then, having a deposit on it and then an automatic withdrawal in the contract, the lease agreement with them.
I guess I just was looking for clarification on how that rent is supposed to be collected, and I think I got my answer, so.
Yeah, and I guess once it got approved through the village board, I guess we all just kind of assumed it was something where there was already some kind of a process in place and it was taken care of, so it's our fault too for assuming that, but, can you let us know, just shoot out an email tomorrow and let us know if they have been paying, and if not, we'll have to make some, make some calls.
Sure can.
What's your guys' thought on the, I don't wanna call it a food truck lot, cause it's not a food truck lot, but more of a
Vendor Village.
vendor village. I like
That'd
that
be
name,
cool. In the Christmas too.
yeah,
Mhm. It, depending on development, of course. Well, I think we do need to drop a model lease agreement for sure, and policies.
Yeah.
That it's clear, billing and.
we'll have to look at the one that Wheelhouse already has in place and then maybe modify it if it doesn't fit.
Right.
Donnie, what are your thoughts on vendor village instead of the food
So-
truck lot?
So we already have a lease agreement that we spend a ton of money to get put together already for a Wheelhouse. I think we just, put that forward with, recommendation of what the rest of the board would like, if they're comfortable with that same amount per a monthly deal. At least we can get some kind of income generated in that area. Rather than just letting it sit vacant and it's an opportunity for, us to get some energy downtown as well.
Agreed. Andrea, can you email us that lease agreement that was presented to Wheelhouse so we can look at it and try to modify it if needed before the village board meeting?
Yes. What would you do if somebody wanted to be on there not for a whole month, just like a week or a
Then
weekend?
They pay for it's a month by month, I'd say, otherwise it becomes kind of a nightmare of trying to collect and who's there, who's not there. It'd be month to month, so if they wanna only be there a weekend, it's the same price for a month, and I think it's only 150 or 200 or whatever it was, so it's not, we're not.
How would you
talking-
be able to administer that, Andrew? Really? I mean, that sounds like an administration nightmare to go weekend to weekend on something like that.
Well, we kind of do that already with the direct sellers permits. There's an application they fill out and there's a fee that they pay.
Right, but the direct sellers, they're looking to sell, not necessarily on, at the parking lot right across from the village hall.
Yeah, that doesn't, it gives them the ability to sell in the village, but it doesn't give them the right to go set up on village property.
Right. So they have to and they have to provide their insurance and everything for a direct seller's permit, on that. And if they're
Mhm.
selling food, they have to provide, health permits to ensure that all of that is in, up to code and approved that way. This is, we're saying if you'd like to, you need a direct seller's permit, but if you'd like to do, utilize this portion of it, you could sign a lease for a month and you could set up shop here and maybe sell all month long. If you only want to do one weekend, well, this is our rate for the month. Maybe you sublease it out to somebody else for the rest of that time.
I don't know if they'd wanna sublease it, cause then the other subleaser would still have to provide insurance and.
So that would be something that needs to be looked at in that lease agreement with Wheelhouse. But I think if you put numbers on those lots that Bob kind of laid out there, and if they wanted to, lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, lot 4, whatever of that address, and then you got your amount and put it forward to the board for approval.
And I say we start out by month, and who knows, this lot could sit vacant for a while, or could go quick. Oh, and if there's if it fills up fast and there's a waiting list, then we can look at weekend to weekend or week to week or whatever, but. I say we start somewhere, we start month to month, but they would have to provide their, what was that?
Direct sellers permit.
Direct seller's permit and lease agreement.
Okay, what would you recommend as amount?
I'm gonna say 150 a month. I think that's what we went with for Wheelhouse.
I don't know, too. I just wonder if that might shoo off some of the smaller vendors. But
Well, let's get something going, something better than nothing at this point. Does that amount work for you, Donnie?
I, I don't think we should be going, consistency is always best.
So is that a yes, that amount works for you?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, we already agreed to it as a board, so.
I'll make the motion to start accepting applications for Vendor Village in the amount of $150 per vendor per month. And we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spots available. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Alright. Discussion possible recommendation of the village website for the town web proposal. Andrew, can you speak to that?
I am actually going to let Tasia speak on this.
Hello, Tasia.
Hi, Andrea, would you be able to share your screen?
We lost your audio, Tasia.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Andrea, are you able to share your screen? Oh, there you go. So this is the proposal that Town Web sent over. Town Web is the website vendor that the town of Somerset uses. There's also other municipalities within our proximity. I don't know them off the top of my head, but that they work with. So they're well known in the area. And we sat through a demo with them probably a few weeks ago now, where they showed us kind of the back end of it that staff would be working in. And so taking that presentation and then what we've seen kind of in action from the town's website, the staff, which there's myself and Andrea and Colleen and Amy and Bob and everyone who touches the website was at the presentation. We all felt like it would be in the best interest of the village to move forward with a website proposal if the board so chooses. So they sent over this proposal and it's fairly detailed. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about it as far as I know. And if there's anything that we need to go back to the vendor, they've been super responsive. So I'd be happy to take questions back to the vendor as well.
If we made the recommendation today, what's the timeline for, I think you said our other contract is done here in a couple months, is that right?
Yeah, our current contract with Revise goes through June. The proposal shows that the timeline is anywhere from 12 to 20 weeks. However, the longer timeline reflects if you are going completely custom and not using one of their templates, which they showed us various templates that they have set up, and they all look nice. And I don't think that we'd have to go to the custom route. That's much more expensive also. And I just don't think that that is necessary for our needs. So I would imagine if we, moved forward with this, we'd be looking at a July kickoff, which falls nicely in line with our current contract with Revise expiring in June.
And what are the costs associated with this?
So I think it's towards the end of the proposal packet. I'll just see if I can.
It's what I put in the paper packet, the last 3 pages of the proposal.
So I'm gonna see if I can.
How does it, the pricing compare to what we're currently paying?
So Andrea, correct me if I'm misspeaking, but I believe that we're paying annually for Revise about $1,700. So the numbers on this page kind of reflect a couple of different things. I'm going to try to pull it up on another screen so I can actually see the numbers, unless Andrea, are you able to zoom in at all?
Trying, my little Zoom window is blocking it. There we go. Is that better? Or
Yeah,
more?
Yes.
one more would be great.
Keep it going.
There we go.
Yeah, so the annual fee for Town Web is at $2,400 listed. So if you're looking kind of apples to apples for that annual cost, it's $1,700 that we're currently paying for Revise. This would be $2,400. Looking back at the setup fee that Revise charged us versus this Town Web, you'll see the setup fee for Town Web is $2,500. I believe the Revise setup fee when we went with that one a few years back was a little over $4,000. So pay more annually, but I would fully advocate that this product will be much more user friendly for not only the staff end, but from the resident standpoint, that it will be well worth the switch if we're able to do it.
Do we have this in our budget at all?
I'll defer to Andrea for that.
This amount per se, no. However, we do have money set aside in the capital improvements for technology, which could be used for the setup fee.
How much do we have sitting in that technology fund right now for capital improvement?
Off the top of my head, I can't answer that. I would have to look at the banks.
Would this be used to collect utility payments as well?
So that, if you go down on the sheet that has all the cost, where it says the Town Web's online digital tools, that's where that comes into play. We could utilize the same system that we are currently utilizing to collect utility payments and just provide a link on the website to do that, and not encompass it in that HeyGov Pay that's listed on the proposal as part of the package. So yes, to answer your question, we can collect utility payments there. It's through this HeyGov bundle, which encompasses some other things also. Online forms, so that we're doing less paper. Dog licenses, people could submit their dog license forms and payments right online. Permit fees, operator license, conditional use permit, all of that stuff could be online forms of payments collected directly. Now that comes with that price tag for that bundle to have those services of $5,000 a year. So I guess that would be a conversation of if the board would want to go that route right away, or if we'd want to be adding that at a later date potentially, but that would automate things.
Are you just telling us about it, or are you kind of asking to have that as part of the discussion?
Knowing that, it would need to be able to be covered cost-wise, I would heavily advocate for it. The more that we can automate things for people, and the less paper shuffling, I'm all for it. I think that the residents would find it extremely helpful to be able to go online and fill out a form versus having to print off something um, and fill it out and bring out down a check or whatever to the village hall. I think we're moving in that direction as a society, and I think we're a little behind the 8 ball.
So I don't disagree with you at all, Tasia, in that statement. The question I got is, are we looking at $4,915 per year for the next 3 years for this service as compared to $1,700?
Nope. If we're just looking at the website and taking out those kind of like the online forms and all that stuff, we're looking at $2,400 per year versus
Okay.
1,700.
Okay, and then like you were talking about putting a link and stuff to the current system for paying and all these other things. That's a cost figured into that's cost figured into that 2,400 as well.
Nope. Well, using our current link of how we collect payments, that could go in just kind of as we use it. If we wanted to offer online forms for people to, submit their permit requests online for their dog permits or their,
Right.
um,
I think Andrea was working at that, right? Weren't you, Andrea? Will this help you in that process?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. I was working on
As far-
fill-in forms, not, these forms would be right on the website. What I was working on is PDFs that are fillable. So it's a little
okay.
different. Obviously this would be more user friendly. However, I'm not sure that we have the additional $5,000 set aside and or available to do it now, but we could budget for it for 2025.
And that would one-time cost type deal to get that set up?
No, that's per year to have that online digital tool. So instead of paying $2,400 a year for hosting, maintenance, and unlimited support, you would be paying $7,400 a year.
But there's additional savings that we'd be looking at for not having the paper shuffling and everything else and a more speedy efficiency, so to speak, right?
To an extent, yes.
Convenience but at a cost.
And then just a couple other things that are listed on that proposal, just to clarify what they are. The Facebook syndication would allow for us to tie our Facebook page to the website so that when updates are posted, it would kind of automate that process of pushing it out on our village Facebook. And then the embedded live stream would be when a meeting is going on and we have, the Zoom going. If people went to the village website while a meeting was happening, a little screen on the website would pop up with the live feed of the video. So that's what those two items are.
Will that stay on there, or is that something that's going to just be for that time period and then it'll be archived like on YouTube like we currently do?
Yep. So it'd be, that feature is just so it would pop up live on the website. We would
Okay.
still do the YouTube page and archive them on there like we do.
How about
But I think
the,
for $120 a year, that's kind of a cool, convenient feature for residents. It seems like it would be helpful.
agreed. I've been really on our old website, been wanting these push notifications that still don't work yet. Does this have the ability for the push notifications for meetings and any information we want to push out to people?
Yep. And actually this one of the things where staff, when we were going through the proposal with the vendor, was really impressed with was the push notification feature, because right now on Revise, when when we can get it to work and we do send them out, the email that comes through looks a little bit sparse and isn't, it just says there's been an update to this page, but you don't know what's been updated or anything. Push notifications coming from here the email will say it's from the Village of Somerset. So it's recognizable for people, and it will show what exactly was updated. And if there's an agenda, like here, an agenda has been posted, the agenda will be linked right to that email for folks so that they don't have to go searching around the website to see what was updated.
I like that feature.
Yeah, I do too. So are we looking at the $2,400 a year? With the $2,500 setup fee, $2,400 a year, the Facebook syndication feature and the embedded live stream meeting video feed? For recommendation, is everybody good with that?
So sure, 20.
Andrea, will you would be able to pay that out of the capital for this year and then, or we look and then budget for next year then on to get the additional amounts items done?
Yes, why not, if you're going to make a recommendation, I would suggest you put that as an option, and then I can look at the amount that's in capital improvements right now to see if we can add the HeyGov portal or HeyGov bundle now.
Do we really, to add an extra 5,000 a year, do we really even need that right now? If we can just use the links that we're already using?
Well, it's the link, the only link that would carry over is when people go to all paid to pay their utility bill.
Right. So you're looking at it, so if it's a operator's license or somebody going, renewing their liquor license, dog license, you want everything through this Hay Bundle thing, or is what we're doing now working good enough to not spend 5,000 on it?
I guess it would be the board's call on what the price of convenience is for not only staff, but residents. I feel like we're a little behind the 8 ball not having automated forms that people can complete on our website, but if that's not the direction that the board feels is important, then that's fine too.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, so is it one or the other? Cause I think it's the hosting, maintenance and unlimited sports, 2,400 a year, correct? And then
Correct.
if we do the HeyGov bundle in addition to that, that's another 5,000 a year for that feature, right?
Correct.
So then we're at 7,400 a year for our website.
Yep.
Plus
it-
the Facebook and embedded live stream, so another $420.
Right, but the big one is at 5,000 for the HeyGov bundle.
Would you like
And-
me to show you what it looks like? I can pull up the Town of Somerset's
Yeah, if you can
website.
do a screen share there and walk us through
Yep. I'm gonna stop with this for just a minute.
And then, Tasia, while she's working on that, can you go through some of the other things that people could use? So it's operator's license, liquor license, dog license, what other kind of things would go
Seller's
through that?
permits.
Yeah, the operator license probably could. I'm not sure about the liquor license just because that's a state form. So I'd have to look into that piece of it, but operator license, fence permit forms, any of the forms that the village has created or that are typically done paper, minus I would think the kind of the state forms like with the liquor licenses, but dog license forms, plan commission applications, trying to think of what else I normally get asked for.
Seller's
Okay.
permits.
This might help you, Tasia.
Yeah, direct sellers permits. Yeah.
Okay.
So I clicked on forms and permits and then, let's just go to operator license. If you click on the form, my internet's slow.
So the town's already, town of Somerset's already using the HayGov bundle.
Yes. Yep. So then you would start the application, enter all your information. So you would just input it all right here. Skip, see if I can skip.
Nice.
And then you sign it. And you would pay here. And then on the other end, on our end, we would get an email saying so-and-so submitted this application. And we would process it right away.
So then it's already kind of been processed, right? Because they paid for it?
Yep.
But do you file it and then issue them their, certificate or whatever? Is that, or does the site do that automatically?
No, we would do it.
Okay, but like through the email or whatever, right?
Yep. Well, no, they would get an
Andrea,
actual license.
Andrea, can you go back to the page with the township uses it for all the different ones?
Yep. So they have,
So the address sign order doesn't apply, the boat launch doesn't apply, burning permit doesn't apply, the concession stand tubing license doesn't apply.
yes, it
Boat
does.
license.
The concession.
Tubing
stand.
license, and we do concession stand use agreements.
Okay, so one, driveway permit, no. Dog license, yes. Operator license, yes. Utility permit? No, so,
This is what they have decided would be applicable to
Yep.
them. That's not necessarily what we have to have.
I'm following you, I'm just trying to collect all the information, Andrea, so operator's licenses, we would use it, fence permit. Dog license, planning commission application, and seller's permit. Any other that you think the village would have on there? Any other applications that come in from people? Other than those 5?
Sign application. Street use permit, which I guess I don't know that requires a payment, but
Right,
Well, it's
It
still
would
good
still
to
be a
have on there.
submittable form.
Yes, it's still good to have on there because then they could provide their insurance and everything.
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
out of those 7 things, I'm just trying to justify $5,000 makes sense. So, how many operators license, fence permits, dog license, planning commission apps, direct sellers permit, sign apps and street use permits come in each year? Is it a large number enough to justify $5,000 a year is my question. What is that number? Just a rough estimate number of the number of operators licensed, how many of those we have?
There's probably 75.
75, okay. Fence permits per year on average?
I'd say 20.
Dog license?
Oh,
I think we're up
A lot.
to 250
I
or
think we
something
get
right now.
130 tags a year from the
130,
county.
okay. Planning commission applications, that's probably only a couple.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to put on average, because some months we have more, I would say 12.
12
You'd
for the
average
year.
1 per month. Yeah.
Okay.
Some
And
is
you have
more.
your-
Sign,
Board of Appeals applications. Site review application.
Yeah.
okay. site review. Okay, so then how many the, direct sellers permit?
Oh. Let's just say 5.
Okay, sign
But if we're opening up
applications,
this lot, you'll get more.
Right.
yeah, but up to 10, 20 maybe, sign applications.
That goes through the building inspector, at least currently it does, so,
Okay, how about street use permits? There's just probably 3, 4, 5.
the school does a couple pea soup days. The OSI, they used to do one for their run up
So, but
by
probably
their
less, probably
location.
less than 10, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Board of Appeals applications,
I wouldn't say more than 5.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
site reviews,
Including
5 again.
ETZ,
Oh,
yes,
seems like we have a lot of those. I'm sorry, Tasia, I cut you off.
I was gonna say 5, but if you include ETZs, I would maybe bump that up to
10.
10, 12.
Cigarette licenses?
Well, and I know
That would be
the,
just once a year.
yeah, and I know like the liquor license, it's a state form, but they could still fill out the application through here and pay through here, right?
Yeah, we could, yeah,
Hopefully you could just pay for it through here.
yeah.
Well, with this quote, it looks like it's kind of broken down in that hay reserve. I don't know that we would necessarily need that. I mean, that's not a very common occurrence, is it, that somebody wants to reserve a shelter or whatnot? And that's right now just handled
What are you
through
talking
Public
about?
Works. So.
Oh,
under
that's
this,
true.
There's 3 different options that build up to that 5,000. So maybe we could get that for 4 or. What does it say? Starts at 2,000 for each of those pieces.
Yeah.
So that's, something we could look at.
I guess,
I think, I like the idea. I gotta say, I like the idea. I wanna do a little bit more, like I said, thinking about the, maybe we table this and look at this a little bit more as far as our different options of what we have on this, rather than just saying, well, if we got the money, we wanna spend it, because, but I like the idea of at least getting this possible different service. I'm not a big fan of this Vise, that's currently out there. So I'm okay with approving, going to this new, recommending approval to go, with this one, but I'd like to at least table and do a little more research on the cost versus, benefits, so to speak, for this other stuff. If we can figure it out where there's a way we can get it paid for, in the next year's budget or something on that lines, I'm more apt to look at that as well too.
I completely agree with you, Donnie. But I would say, let's approve the change and then.
Yep.
Andrea and Tasia, if you guys wanna do some more research on the Hey Gov bundle portion of it. And if you think it's gonna be a significant, value to you guys. And you guys want us to add it to that part of it to the approval process of the full village board meeting, does that work for you guys?
Yep.
Yep, that works.
Donnie?
I could
What's your
definitely
recommendation?
see if there was like a fee, it's like, okay, well, maybe we need to bump up our fees a little bit anyways, if we're gonna make adjustments on our fees to try to recoup some of that additional cost for this convenience as well.
I guess I'll make the motion to start with change to the town web. What it's called?
Yep.
The town web in the amount of hosting. Well, the setup fee of $2,500 to start, $2,400 per year. Added the Facebook syndication of $300 per year. And the embedded live meeting video of $120 per year. And to have Andrea and Tasia review the hay bundle part of it to see if that's something that is worth adding to the full village board for approval.
Second.
First and second, further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you, guys. So see what you can find out and if it's worth the $5,000, I know you guys are gonna spend the village money wisely, so if it helps, let's do it. If it's not worth it, then we trust your guys' judgment.
Thanks. I'm gonna hop off now. Have a good night, guys.
Okay, thanks, Tasia.
Before you convene to close session, that $5,000 donation was from Friends of the Library to help cover some of the additional expenses that were added to the library budget this year.
Thank you for
Nice,
that.
Yep.
And then Andrea, so Joel is on and I want to keep him as part of the closed session. And then if
Yep.
you could X everybody else out.
Yep.
Convene to close session per Wisconsin statute 19.85, parent 1, consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the village has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. And this is for a police lieutenant. Roll call.
Chris Dubak, aye.
Myself, yes. Donnie
Aye.
Kern. Yes.
Can you-
Okay.
Yep, aye.
The time is 8:45 PM. We've come out of closed session. And Chris, you have a motion?
Yes, I would like to recommend John Farrell be promoted to lieutenant. And the terms of that are outlined in the employment agreement as presented by Chief and John Farrell.
You got a first, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Myself, yes. Unanimous, make a recommendation to go to the full village board. And, anything for future agenda items? Going once, whoa.
Bug
Did
spray?
anybody else see that big bug walk across the camera?
Nope.
I make a motion
Alright.
to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn, is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned at 8:46 PM. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks. All right, thank you, guys. Have a good rest of your night.
You
You
too.
too.